Please stay tuned to Cardinal Television. Commotion's coming up next. Welcome to this edition of Commotion, a pop culture debate show exclusively here on CTV. I'm your host, Rob Sweet, and I'm here with a group of panelists for which I will shoot out relevant issues of discussion. Each member of the panel will provide their opinions, objections, and arguments in regards to the topic at the end of the show. The panelists who provide the best arguments of the day will be allowed 30 seconds to rant about whatever they want. And now to introduce today's panelists. They are Allison Baird, a 9-year veteran of competitive figure skating. Caitlin Littlewood, who has skied atop an Olympic-caliber mountain in California. Wow. And Chris Murray, who went skydiving over the summer. Seems to me we have some very daring panelists this week, so let's see if they can handle the hot topics we throw at them. These guys seem ready to go, so good luck to our panelists, and now let the commotion begin. So we start with a group of sorority girls coming under fire after cameras at an Arizona Diamondbacks game caught them taking selfies during the game. Oh my God. Some are angry, calling the girls spoiled and entitled for taking so many selfies at a baseball game they paid money to see. Others say they were just having harmless fun, which is true. Chris, you seem to have an opinion, right? You know baseball, right?
Oh, absolutely. So
what do you say?
To me, this is just a bunch of girls trying to have a good time. To call them spoiled and entitled is just not fair. If you're accusing them of wasting their money, they already paid their money. They're stimulating the economy by paying their money, and now they're just out there. They're taking selfies, trying to show off that they're at the baseball game, and I don't think we can criticize them for it.
So it's their right to do whatever they want with the dollars that they have earned or been given by their parents, probably.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, Caitlin, what do you think about this? Are you a selfie taker?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what's the big deal about this. If anything, they're promoting the baseball game. You know what I mean? They're just taking harmless selfies, so there's nothing really that. I mean, when I go to baseball games, I take photos of myself. I take selfies with my friends, Snapchat.
But you say they're promoting the game, so are they promoting the game by promoting themselves?
I think they're promoting the game because they're taking photos of themselves at the game. You know what I mean?
Okay, interesting.
So, I don't know. I think it's fine. It's harmless fun, like it said, so.
Well, Allison, what do you think about this?
Well, I personally agree with both of them. I was very upset with the uproar this caused. I noticed in the beginning of the film that was shown, there was a little banner that said, tweet your #FanSelfie. And I noticed that, and I'm very confused as to why they were called entitled and spoiled. I don't think it was really fair to any of them when they were just basically doing what they thought was fun. And It's a social game anyway. That's how it should be.
So
it's silly. There's so many other things to worry about in the world. Like, come on.
Absolutely. I don't think we should focus on a bunch of girls
come
having
on.
fun at a baseball game.
Literally.
But with the high price of salaries, especially in the game of baseball, don't you think that maybe we should be highlighting the players?
I think this is
promote that
nothing more
enough.
than all the commotion that gets popped up on the big jumbotron at the games. We see, the kiss cam where the guy ignores his girlfriend, and that makes it onto the homepage of YouTube. I don't think this is anything more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, could it be that the hyper media that we got, the social media aspect of the world, that we're seeing more of this because everybody's got a camera? And no matter what, everybody's sharing videos. You got a selfie stick.
I got a pink selfie stick.
So what would you bring that to a baseball game with you?
A baseball game? I don't know. I would bring it wherever I traveled. Like if I was going out of town and I was going to you know what I mean?
Think about if you had the stick and you're holding up the stick and here comes a pop-up fly foul ball, and oh my God, either the ball hits your selfie stick in your phone, or say all the fans around you, they're trying to grab at that ball and there goes your stick.
I just feel like if you have a selfie stick at a game, you're kind of just causing a scene. Just
There's
attracting
a time
yourself. There's a time and a place for a
There's a time and
selfie
place,
stick.
exactly.
So selfies are fun, being safety first. That's,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Well,
well,
be paying attention.
one thing's for sure, selfie sticks are usually for tourists,
Exactly.
and baseball game is for baseball fans. So stick to the hot dogs and peanuts and Cracker Jacks. So, moving on to our next subject. We're going to get a little bit more serious. Kim Davis is in the news once again for being invited to have an audience with Pope Francis during his visit to the U.S. According to Davis and her lawyer, Pope Francis met with her and advised her to stay strong in the wake of the criticism she received for denying marriage licenses to gay couples due to her own religious beliefs. However, the Vatican has given a contrasting report saying that while the Pope did meet with her, his meeting shouldn't count as an endorsement of her beliefs. Should the Pope have met with her in the first place? What does this mean for his reputation as a progressive Catholic? Caitlin, we talked about this last episode.
Yes, we did. You know, I think the Catholic Church states that gay marriage is wrong. I mean, that's not really my opinion. I'm just kind of saying that he really didn't do anything wrong. He met with someone who is against gay marriage, and they have similar beliefs. So I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with what he did. So I don't know why everyone's freaking out about this.
You know, I kind of, personally, I kind of agree with, or disagree with that. I mean, I completely understand. You're all for your religion. I mean, completely believe what you want to believe. That's fine. You know, there's no problem with that.
Freedom of expression.
But absolutely. But I mean, in this day and age with our society, there's so much going on with gay marriages, and it's legal now. And I completely respect her opinion. That's fine. But I think by the Pope meeting with her, they're almost promoting that. And, you know, and I think that's the way people took it.
But also, he's the Pope. He stands for the Catholic Church. So he is saying he thinks that the gay marriage is wrong. So that's just what the Catholic Church believes.
I'm not a religious man myself, but I know that the Christianity, Catholicism, and the Pope is supposed to be a fair representation of everybody. They go and they'll speak with inmates in prison, and they're not promoting violence of the inmates. They're just trying to spread the love of the religion to everybody. I don't think that the Pope is condoning the hate of gay marriage. This Pope is actually the most friendly that when it comes to gay marriage.
He really is.
So I don't think that this is in any way promoting Kim Davis.
Well, I mean, in the end, religion isn't it about loving thy neighbor, loving everybody? So what's the difference between this and like a priest visiting a death row inmate or someone convicted of murder or something like that? I mean, we are to take care of each other, right?
Yeah, and I think he's literally just following his beliefs.
Right. It's not an endorsement either way. It's just
right. I think it's just a matter of separation of church and state, basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, basically, that's kind of the issue at hand. But let's say it wasn't. Say it wasn't an issue of gay marriage. Say it was an issue of, like, say, a child abuse, something to do with child abuse or something like that, where they got people a little bit more one-sided or another, or say child abuse, murder, something like that, a murderer.
I think that child abuse and murder are definitely more touchy subjects than gay marriage, even though gay marriage just became legalized very recently.
It's very
but I think
new.
that the idea of child abuse, is a lot more controversial than gay marriage.
Okay. Well, hey, I have to agree that either way, the Pope was just doing his job as the Pope, and let's take care of each other. Let's love each other. So let's. After this, now we got to take a break. So after we come back, we're going to continue on with our program. We got some few more issues for our panelists to discuss, and we'll catch you when we get back. Thank you.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
And welcome back to Commotion. We got our third topic ready to be discussed coming right up. The University of Louisville's men's basketball program has come under fire after the release of allegations that a former head of the basketball team paid for escort services to provide sex to teenage recruits. Oh boy. If the reports turn out to be true, then the NCAA will consider revoking Louisville's 2013 title. However, with Syracuse University's basketball team was caught using academically ineligible players, the team had 108 wins and 3 scholarships taken away from them. Does it seem like the NCAA picks and chooses their punishments at random, allowing Louisville to get off easier than Syracuse for a seemingly worse charge? Allison, what do you think about this?
This situation, I believe, is absolutely ridiculous. It causes so many problems. I really think that the severity of punishments that occur should really correspond with the actions that happened,
Totally.
I think it's ridiculous. I think the punishment should have been way worse. I mean, to bring in sex for recruits, it's outlandish. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, this brings up the issues of what if something happened? What if the kids were not willing to,
Just
do
didn't want to
this?
do it.
It was just bad. This whole situation was bad.
The idea of punishment across the sports world is very perverted in a way. I think it's not only just in the sports world; it's across all media. Nightly news anchor Brian Williams. He's the face of the company, and when that scandal happened, he was removed from his show. And just recently, I'm a big fan of wrestling, and Hulk Hogan was completely wiped off the face of the wrestling network because of a video that was released of him using some racist words. And is it completely fair to completely get rid of a person over one scandal? I don't.
Can you really truly discredit the good that somebody has done based on something bad? I mean, when O.J. Simpson, hey, his records still stood, his accomplishments still stood, despite what he may or may not have done. So how do you erase history like that?
Yeah.
I have to agree with you, Chris, and the Hulk Hogan issue as well. I mean, hey, that man, he's been wiped from history now,
That's right.
from the WWE. They even took him off the Hall of Fame website, I
Yep.
believe. So, but do you go back and get rid of wins, get rid of scholarships? Like, these things are changing people's lives.
Yeah, I just think we need more regulation within the sports the sports teams. I feel like this keeps happening with sports teams, and it just needs to stop. It just
more rules put in place.
Yeah, more rules, more regulations.
I think the punishment should have been way worse. I mean, they took away the NCAA title, but
Yeah.
I mean, this is just so inappropriate. It just should not have happened in the first place. So I really
It's not-
disagree with what's going on.
There needs
Yeah,
to be
it's-
regulation across the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just
one
not
punishment
professional.
for one team
No.
can't be different from another punishment from
Exactly.
another team.
It's not professional.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not professional, and that's what's happening is at these schools they're trying to get these guys ready for being professional. You
Yeah,
know?
and,
Right.
So
and you
should-
want
I mean, should
Sorry.
Caitlin?
and you want a good reputation for the school. I mean, Syracuse and Louisville are now always going to have this reputation. You want a good reputation. You want to be known as a good school. You want students to come there.
They are well-known schools, so I mean,
Exactly.
when something like this pops up in the media, people are going to remember the name, and maybe this is going to start a negative
Yeah.
reputation for those schools, which is really
Be a little
unfortunate.
tentative. Yeah.
I mean, well, hey, this is going to cause parents to prevent their children from going.
Absolutely.
Without a
for
doubt.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect the whole sports program going ahead in the future. So there's definitely some mistakes made there.
Yeah.
But so we're going to move on to our next subject. On Thursday, a 26-year-old student from Umpqua Community College in Oregon walked into the Science and English building and opened fire, killing 9 and wounding 7, before being gunned down by police. According to the Washington Post, there have been 294 mass shootings in 274 days in 2015 alone. Is it time for the United States to adapt stricter gun control laws? And note that a mass shooting is qualified as 3 or more people being killed. To me, a mass shooting is you shoot with a mass amount of people around. I mean, you're putting a lot of people in danger. I mean, I don't need to qualify what a mass shooting is, Well, what do you think, Chris? Or Caitlin?
Sorry.
Caitlin, why don't you start?
You want to go, Chris?
No, after you.
I just think we need to emphasize 294 mass shootings in 274 days.
That's a lot. That's a big number.
That's crazy. I mean, think about all of these mass shootings. I just think we need gun control laws because we're giving people the wrong ideas that it's okay for this to happen. I think we're not doing enough as a society to regulate these laws.
I personally think the only thing more disgraceful than the school shooting itself is the media coverage of the school shooting.
Exactly.
The whole idea of gun control flares up anytime that there's a shooting, but then
Yeah.
it completely dies down and nobody cares about it until another shooting happens again. And I try to remain neutral on the whole idea of gun control, but you know what, Rob, this is Commotion, so I'm going to bring up my opinions now.
Yes, and this is your platform to do
I
it.
think that I favor slightly more towards allowing people to own guns for protection. I don't think people need to walk around with assault rifles, to go to the grocery store or whatever.
But the right to bear arms is one
Correct.
of our freedoms we've been allowed, right?
See, I disagree.
I completely agree with Chris. I think it's really a sense of security. I mean, not everyone is going to,
It's-
want to have a rifle on them at all times. But if you feel safe, if you're walking, somewhere where you feel unsafe,
But
unprotected.
that's giving them the wrong idea. It's giving them the wrong idea that it's okay to have a gun to make you feel safe. I don't think that there's so many other things in the world that can make you feel safe. I don't think guns should be one
There
of the
have been
things.
examples of certain towns. I know in Texas, for example, where there will be a town where every member of that town is required to own a gun, and crime
Which
rate
is
completely
crazy.
plummets. And there's no shootings,
But
there's
put
no
yourself in
robberies.
put yourself in the position. Think about if a criminal comes up to you with a gun and you have absolutely nothing on you, even to scare them off. It's just self-defense.
Yeah, but also you have to go back to think about the amount of people that have a gun in their home. I've heard this statistic before. The people that have a gun in their home are more likely to have a shooting or a murder, like something along the lines of like gun murders happen. You know what I mean? It's just I don't think they should be allowed, and I think that society should change that.
I don't, not to pull up the cliche quote of guns don't kill people, people kill people. I think we can talk about
it's
the
true.
controversy of violent video games. Just think about
It's true.
the millions and millions of people who, like myself, who play violent video games all the time, but they've never been own a weapon or done anything violent
I mean,
because of it.
there could be
That's
something
true.
said about violent media, about violent movies, violent video games being an outlet for people. Because, hey, instead of going out there and actually thinking in those thoughts, they're going out, they're
Playing the
using
game.
that outlet to let it out. I mean,
Very true.
is that too far out there, you think? I mean,
I think if a criminal or a person is going to go out of their way to have a mass shooting and kill several people, I think gun control laws are not going to stop them from obtaining a gun at some point. I don't think it's that far off that if we have laws, what's really going to stop them? They're not
No, I agree.
going to abide by the law by not killing people. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the
So-
same thing with drugs. Drugs are still illegal, but they're still
People still
a
do
People
big
still
of
do
a
it. I
problem
guess you're
now
right,
as they
yeah.
ever have been.
yeah, well, I mean, what it comes down to, I think, is what life did these people lead? What upbringing did they get from their parents? I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
that's what it comes down to. Parents just need to watch their kids, and these kind of things won't happen. But we have to go to a commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to have a couple really tough topics to talk about. But these panelists are sure handling the pressure, so we'll be right back.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
And we're back with Commotion, and our panelists are ready to discuss a little bit more topics. So, an Oklahoma prisoner, Richard Glossop, is on death row over his alleged involvement in a murder. However, his execution has been postponed over claims of his innocence, a theme becoming more common in death penalty cases. Oklahoma and other states are also under fire for their botched executions due to the lethal drugs not being strong enough, causing the prisoner to have a slow and painful death. Is the death penalty more trouble than it's worth? Chris, let's start with you on this one.
Sure. I myself am in favor of the death penalty. Wish I wasn't. I think murdering a person is not the right way to handle a situation. I think we definitely would need lighter laws on drugs and whatnot, because over half the prisoners, I'm sure, in prison are in there because of drug-related charges. But we can go back a step to the mass murder shootings. If that person was captured, would we want to let them sit in jail, or would we want the quickest way to handle the situation? And on the topic of botching an injection job, if anyone were to botch the job, I feel like they should immediately be fired. If a surgeon, an anesthesiologist, botched a job and the person woke up halfway through a procedure, they would be fired right away. I don't think.
Firing is probably the least of the
Right.
punishments they should deal with at that point. I mean, despite the fact that they're going to be killed, I don't believe that. I think there's a humane way of doing it, and when you put somebody through pain like that, I think that's almost as bad as killing them. Caitlin?
Back to saying either killing them or letting them sit in jail, we're paying that, having them sit in jail. We're having, think about it, through taxes, we're having them, food, clothing, water.
It's almost like
all,
we're catering to their needs.
Yeah, it's like we're
which
catering
we
them to
should
them.
not.
Which,
They're overpopulated already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think death row is 100% a good thing. If they kill someone, they should be killed for what they did. I mean,
I agree with that as well, 100%. Also, at the same time, I almost think that people should, criminals in particular, should really be able to almost live with this and suffer for their consequences or for the actions that they took. So, I mean, I know of a specific case from a town close to my hometown where this man raped this woman and his daughter, and he went to jail, was not sent to death row or anything, and he was beaten almost to death in jail. And I almost think that's just as worse because he's really suffering for the actions that he took.
I agree with you, but then at the same time, let's say someone killed your father. Would you want to know that your father was dead, but the guy who killed your father
Was
is
still
still alive?
alive,
Like,
and I completely
I
agree.
would not be able to live with that.
No.
So I guess I would want him killed.
On the other side of that, some prisoners are going there and they get the rec room and they get college, education in prison. And I don't think
Which is crazy.
I don't think that that's fair. That we have to, as free people, I don't think we should have to pay for that. And as I said, they're overpopulated as it is. So I think
Right.
dealing with this situation is way more than all about death penalty.
Well, I mean, you guys just brought up like two different dichotomies. One, the swift hand of justice coming either from the form of the death penalty or, as you said, in jail, people taking care of the business. So you don't think that somebody could have made a mistake, that they can't reform?
Right.
I mean, college education, things like that, or give them goals to strive for. Give them positive things to focus on.
But I don't think they should be given positive
I
things.
don't
If they kill
either.
someone, why should they be given positive things?
Because it's not too late to reform who you are and make up for your mistakes.
I think it would depend on the severity of the
Yeah.
situation.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it would definitely fluctuate between the situations that occurred between criminals and innocent people.
Yeah, I just think if you've killed someone, you have to
It's
live
just-
with that. And I mean, I don't think you should have positive living
It's
conditions.
just so morally
and-
I think that
wrong.
what
Yeah,
they're
it's
doing
wrong.
is right in a way. I think what they're trying to do is right. Trying to reform these prisoners. I mean, that's the whole purpose of prison, is so you go there and then when you get out, you're a
New person.
a new person again. I think what they're doing is right, but I don't think people aren't comfortable paying for that and having
No.
to deal with that.
Yeah, and exactly. We're gonna have to pay for that in the long run. We're gonna have to pay for them sitting in prison, which is ridiculous.
It actually costs an extravagant amount of money actually to
Yeah.
execute a prisoner. Actually, so I mean, it's going to cost money either way.
In either way,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
And well, they made the decision that brought them there, so maybe they should have thought of that beforehand. Moving on, parents of a 6-year-old boy in Utah allowed him to undergo plastic surgery to reduce his ear size after facing constant bullying at school. Was this the right route for the parents to take? Should children be allowed to undergo cosmetic surgery or changes because of bullying?
I think it's fine. I think that if it makes the kid feel better, then he should do what he wants. Personally, when I was younger, I don't want to say fat, but I was bigger, and I remember a kid called me a whale. He's like, "You're a whale, you're fat." Like, yeah, it hurts. So if it makes the kid feel more comfortable and he feels like he can strive in school then why not?
I think there should have been different outlets, in ways that he could have coped with this. I mean, if it led to plastic surgery and if that was the only thing that was ending the bullying, then, by all means, if the parents were okay with that, that's their own, situation that they're in.
But at the same time, does that ruin, the integrity of the kid? Is he
Right.
giving in to the bullies by getting the plastic surgery?
Yeah, do the
That's
bullies
true.
end up winning
Are the bullies
this
winning now?
way?
Right.
Yeah, but
Giving
it's
them what
also
they want.
but it's also going to help him feel better and make him more confident in the long run.
He should have felt better in the first place. So shouldn't the parents should have been reinforcing that, hey, you're okay
Or even
despite
switching
this?
schools or, doing something to try to fix
Yeah.
this. I don't think, they went to that extent. I don't think that was really appropriate.
But if they had the money and the kid, like I said, feels better about that, then
I definitely look forward to seeing more coverage of this in a month or so. I'm wondering if the bullying does stop. when he goes back to school,
What
or
the
the kids
outcome
make
is.
fun of him more for getting his ears
Yeah,
changed.
you never know.
So I mean,
Bullies are terrible. It's
is
becoming so popular.
is the spotlight on bullying nowadays? Has bullying always been this extreme, or is it just becoming a bigger and bigger issue?
I feel like in the last few years it's become popular. I don't know if it's because of social
was
media
gonna say the
becoming more
media.
popular, and now Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter and all of that. I think it's just building up Snapchat.
There's
building
definitely been a
building up bullying.
Or perhaps are we finally identifying bullying and not saying it's just a regular part of growing up, that it can really impact a child and leading on to the rest of their life?
It really.
I just think it's easier to bully people now,
Definitely.
especially with like,
Online
the
and-
anonymous apps they have, the
Yik
Yik
Yak, yeah.
Absolutely, all of that stuff.
Where I grew
mean,
up, I never saw any bullying firsthand
Really?
at school ever.
Oh, I saw
but
so
when
much
when you
bullying.
went online, it was a whole different story. You
The
saw it all over the
cyberbullying's
place. A lot of
ridiculous.
anonymous posts,
Text
and whatnot, and it
messages and
I call those guys keyboard tough guys.
Yeah.
yeah, they hide behind a
Hide
computer.
behind the
Don't think
computer,
anything's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's by throwing something out there online, you don't see the consequences. By calling someone a name in person, you see their reaction.
see their expression on their face,
Right.
feel
Without
a
a
sense
doubt.
of guilt, but
We're-
over the computer
Yep.
there is
They
none
have
of
no
that.
idea.
Yeah, but the parents should be letting these kids feel confident in themselves, though. I think it's just like with the violent behavior starting at home. I think that starts at home as well. I mean,
Yeah.
parents got to reinforce
Kids
that their
are
kids
afraid
are
that
all
they're
right.
I think also they're getting phones for their kids too early. I think giving them phones at such a young age is letting them go online and kind of figure everything out, and it's
I didn't
not
get my
turning
first
out-
phone till I was 18.
Right.
So, I mean,
It's almost too much freedom. In a
Yeah,
young
it's
age.
too much freedom, and they're kind of just it's a bad idea. I
I'm
think.
glad the kid's happy, but I don't know if the parents went about the right way to bring him that happiness.
Absolutely.
well, guys, we are out of time for this edition of Commotion. It was a great show. I have the super, super, super hard task of picking a winner because all three panelists did so good this week. So here we go. The drum roll. This is hard. But I'm gonna give it to Chris. Woo! Chris, the podium is yours. You have 30 seconds to tell the world, tell St. John Fisher and the world what you want.
Well, thank you.
But before we go, we have to remind you to check us out and other Cardinal Television programs on Time Warner Cable Channel 12. We want to thank everybody for joining us. And Chris, come on up to take us home.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about upcoming movies. I'm a big, huge movie person. This Christmas is going to be a huge date for Star Wars fans. The Episode 7, of course, big, huge deal. But personally, for me, a bigger deal is the 8th film by Quentin Tarantino. He is my favorite director. The film is The Hateful Eight. It's his second Western movie. I, for one, know that this film is going to be good. That's just a belief I have. I love all of his other movies, and Star Wars, it looks good, but I don't, the prequels they weren't the best.
They weren't the best, but
Never
hopefully
seen Star
Episode
Wars.
7 is going to be awesome.
Right.
All right, I'm looking forward to that too. But thanks everybody for joining us. Chris, good job, and thanks to the other panelists.
Thank you.
We'll catch you
you.
next time on Commotion.